a simple thing as me asking him for a bag of potatoes. And it escalated from him leaping to a bed to me walking out of a house with 4 children, my purse, and my diaper bag. I didn't even understand the extent of my injuries. I didn't know how I looked. All I knew it was time for me to go. I had already prayed and asked God, if you leave the door open, I'll leave, I'll go. Just give me a sign to vacate this part of my life. And I left. But leaving wasn't good enough. I filed for a restraining order right here at this courthouse. And when I called the day before, August 24th, and told them, he's coming, I was told and met with, we can't do anything until he gets there. What does that mean for me? You've already told my mother that you were going to get to me. You've already told my kids that you were going to make sure that they would never see their mother again. At that time, my youngest son was 16 months old, which was the child that I had by him. I ran all the way to Houston, Texas. I had changed my last name, had moved into a place where nobody I thought could find me. And I came home from work. And at that time, I was working for FEMA. So you would think that under a federal kind of umbrella, you would have some security, right? Not gonna happen. This man met me sitting in the driveway in the parking lot of an apartment complex that he drove from San Antonio, Texas to Houston, Texas with our 16-month-old child in the back seat. I was unaware of exactly the extent of how far he was gonna go. And so getting met at your door with a gun to your head, and you know this gun has a featherweight trigger, you think to yourself, this is it. My last days will be the days that I look at this demon that is not even human in the eyes, and he will take my life. God had a whole nother plan for me. So standing in front of you, I decided that I would use my voice to be somebody that advocates for those that don't have one. August 24th, I sat in that truck for 5.5 hours with a gun to my head as he held my child. And all I could do was talk to him to help him understand who would tell his story. Who would tell his child that even though your dad lost a part of himself, he still loved you. How would I be able to tell my child that this man decided that the drugs that influenced his mind, his body, and his soul were not the exact person that he was? He was a genius. He wrote you poetry. He loved you from the day you were conceived. How do you tell this side of a story of a man that you know used your head as a punching bag and your body as something that didn't even represent a sign of life? But at the end of it all, he took his own life right there in front of me. And I lived with that scar thinking, I can get over this. I'm only 25 years old. I have to fight for the sanity of myself, but I have to fight for the lives of my children. And as I decided to go forward and push into this political realm, in the back of my mind, I still felt that form of unworthiness. I felt that form of guilt because I was still here and he wasn't. And I had a moment to where I just had to escape from what my mind was telling me and listen to the vision that God had given me to go forward and speak on behalf of my district. In my district, you will see, as we have had a study, that number 3 in the city of San Antonio is District 2 for domestic violence. We have over 447 issues that have been presented as far as domestic violence. But what about the ones that we haven't heard of? What about the drugs that we don't know that are affecting the mindset of those that were once deemed lovable, once deemed your husband, your friend, your wife, the father, the mother? What about those that don't speak? What about those that we've lost and we still haven't found their bodies? Who speaks for them? Who stands for them? And we as a city, as a county, must do all that we can together in conjunction of unity to bring this to the forefront of everyone's minds, that we can tackle it head on, headstrong, the way that the city of San Antonio has always been with everything else that we have come against. Senator Menendez has been great and influential in making sure that House Bill 3529 was passed. I must thank my council colleagues, Shirley Gonzalez and Councilman Pelaez, along with Ms. Marta Pelaez, for their efforts in making sure that we as a city push and do something to bring this to the forefront. We have, to my right, Judge Rosie Speedlin-Gonzalez and her wife, Ms. Stacy Speedlin-Gonzalez, who are pushing forth a mission to bring the drug court for specifically domestic violence to the city of San Antonio.
One more child having to experience the trauma of domestic violence, one more woman having to be a survivor is one too many. I want to make sure that this county continues to offer healthy, safe opportunities for our families to take advantage of. I've been a part of the drug court movement for now almost 20 years, and I want to make sure I acknowledge the godfather of courts, of drug courts in Bexar County, and that's the retired Judge Al Alonso, who's here today in support of this drug court. And everyone knows behind every great man is a greater woman, and that's Maria Elena Toralba, who also keeps him together and makes sure that he makes all his appointments, right? But let's get back to the matter at hand. Bexar County has the highest number of domestic violence cases in the state, and that's unfortunate, but we have ways that we can start to combat it. We know through the last 20 years in Bexar County that drug courts work, in part because of the work that Judge Alonso has done all those years. He started with one drug court, another unfunded drug court, and he got the community together, and he was able to get numbers together to prove that drug courts work, to keep families intact when possible, and to keep people working in our community and contributing to creating healthy families. From that drug court, we went to felony drug court, child abuse drug court, infant drug court, mental health drug court, juvenile drug court, veterans drug court. They work. We're asking for support. The governor signed our bill into law, but the message was clear. It's a local problem, get some local funding. We've started meetings with the council representatives like the councilwoman. We've met with Justin Rodriguez. We have a meeting set up with Tommy Calvert. We have a meeting scheduled with Judge Wolf. We are going to knock on every single door in this county and do an ask for money until we get the funding for this court. And we're not hiding the numbers. We need about $500,000 a year right now. We're looking for about $1 million to fund a 2-year pilot program so that we can go back to the legislature and ask for monies at the state level. And we intend to make this court the flagship court for the state of Texas. There are other drug courts within domestic violence courts across the country to the tune of about 400. They started in New York State in 1998. The federal government at this time does not provide funding for violent offender programs. The governor's office at this time does not provide funding for violent offender programs. Here's the problem. If we don't get to the root of the behavior, we will continue to exhaust our coffers providing services for survivors and victims, as we should. But we need to curtail those numbers, and the only way we can do that is if we get to the behavior. Hurt people, hurt people. We want to get through the trauma. We want to get to providing moral recognition therapy. We want to look at the opportunities to provide these participants neurofeedback therapy. But we can only do that with funding. And that's why we're here today, to bring and raise the awareness of the need in this county and the city, and to ask all of you to go back to your communities, to your agencies, to your council people, to your commissioners, to your state rep, to your senators, and ask that they look at their budgets. We're right in the middle of the budgeting process as we speak right now. They are line item items that they want to fund for the next fiscal year. Please call your elected officials and ask that this drug court within Bexar County Court at Law number 13 be funded in some manner at some level of commitment from your local city, county, and state representatives. Thank you for your time this morning. I'll turn the mic back over to the councilwoman.
guys know that the city of San Antonio does what we can, as much as we can, for our residents that we serve, for our constituents in our communities. I know that the Bexar County Task Force for Domestic Violence will be formed. There will be a commission that will be formed, and we as a city will be contributing to making sure that this mission is not only sought by just the county, but by the city as a whole. We have already started with Dr. Berger and Judge Monique Diaz, who are pushing forward this commission together. And so as we unite, forming that bond between county and city, we will definitely make an impact on the lives in which we touch. I can only say that from speaking from an experience point, that I'm praying that many others will find strength to speak out, speak up, and come forward to get out of the lives that keep them bound and keep them dug into a hole of being depressed and being looked at as something that is unworthy. When you speak out and you speak up, we have agencies that are here in the city of San Antonio that are here to help you, that are here to bring you forward. And if it wasn't for one agency, and I will mention their name, which is Angel Eyes Foundation, I would have never found the strength to truly tell and share my story. It was something that I held on to as a gate and as a guard to keep me from loving anyone else, from trusting anyone else, and from moving forward in a purpose that I never saw myself even close to standing here speaking of. As the City Councilwoman for District 2, I will always work as hard and as diligent as I can to ensure that the voices of my community are heard and that those that are going through have a safe place and a person that they can talk to. So I thank you again for your time this morning. I thank you for allowing us to push this initiative, and I thank the representatives of the city, of the state of Texas, and of the county. 5-year plan that will be put together. They do have a structure that we've released in the media kits as well. And it will focus on the primary source of what is going on to make sure that we are building that bond between the county and the city. So Dr. Berger and Judge Monique Diaz are working in conjunction together to form this commission. I know Congressman Castro is also working on putting together an elected officials commission as well to get each and every area covered by those elected officials that it serves within the city of San Antonio. Those are some of the things that we have put together. That $1 million, I have a little bit of how much it will go towards if we can fund some of the things that are going on in the county. I will set up a meeting with Commissioner Calvert as well to see how we can work in conjunction. One of the things that we did say when we started this was that there needs to be more unity between city and the county. And so we will look whatever we can do. If we need to make sure that we get grants in place, putting in grant writers, this can be done. It might take some work, but the work is the best part of the job, and then the outcome of making sure people are touched will happen. So the commission itself will be more of a community-driven. The task force is more of the law enforcement. The city, the county is more of the legal side of it. And so we're looking to get the commission because the commission will involve the stakeholders of the community, whereas the task force will involve the legal side of that.
And when do you hope to have it formed, or is that too soon to say?
So we're looking to take it, I believe Dr. Berger said take it to council by October. To see what we can do to make sure that it's enforced, it's in full swing. I know they're still looking at the different platforms that they're looking to build within that commission. And so she does have a way for you to reach out to Dr. Berger or to Judge Monique Diaz, and they can break down exactly how the commission will be formed and who the stakeholders are. Yes,
y'all mentioned 400 other successful courts, for example. Do you have any specific examples of where this is working for?
You mean geographic locations? No, other than the one in New York in 1998, which was the first one. And then the rest followed.
Yes. There was a recent city in the state of Texas it's actually Hidalgo County that recently received the governor's grant for a domestic violence specialty court. What makes San Antonio's domestic violence specialty court unique is the fact that we are
involved in this. This is something I really want to help move forward. What should I do?
You can reach out to your council member, whatever district you are in. Reach out definitely to Judge Gonzalez's office. Reach out to your county commissioners. Reach out to your local churches. We have within District 2, Reverend Bryant Livingston, who is our faith-based coordinator. So you can reach out to your district office. Just make sure that your voice is heard. Come down to City Hall and ask to request to speak to someone. We're here specifically to serve our community, and we're here. We're just make yourself known to us. We're willing to direct you, guide you directly to the person you need to talk to, and we want everyone that can get involved to get involved. Any other questions? So, well, thank you once again for being here. Thank you for allowing us to give a moment of our time, and thank you for allowing me to share with you a moment of my story. You guys have a wonderfully blessed day.